In the last video we looked at Sutra 1, the first sutra of book 2, and this is another statement describing enlightenment practice, the practice of yoga. And I'd like to say a little bit more about it before we move on to Sutra 2. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali are essentially about enlightenment practice. This is a threefold thing. The question we must ask ourselves is, why are we not in samadhi right now? And we're not in samadhi because of the nature of the attention. If you are in samadhi, that's great. But if you're not in samadhi, it means that your attention is caught up in something. It's indulging in something. It might even be indulging in a mood. We think of indulgence as a pleasurable thing. But very often we indulge our moods. Moods are often not very pleasant, not very comfortable. It might seem strange that we should indulge something which is not comfortable. But this is our nature. This is the nature of addiction. Addiction is indulging in behaviour which is destructive, which is not enjoyable. And this is how we are most of the time. So in Sutra 1 we have this word tapas, which is very familiar to those of you who have been practicing yoga or who follow a spiritual path which has got some kind of Hindu context. And I describe tapas as non-indulgence, meaning non-self-indulgence. And this doesn't mean simply not treating ourselves. It doesn't mean giving ourselves a hard time. It means we don't indulge our addictions. And you might think, well, you're okay then because you don't have any addictions. Well, maybe you're addicted to certain understandings. Maybe you're addicted to a particular understanding of yoga even. A particular understanding of tapas. That's worth exploring. The one thing I think it's important to avoid, and it's a mistake which can be made with the more traditional understanding of tapas as austerities and of my understanding as non-self-indulgence, it can be very appealing to masochistic types. And we don't want to go down that road. However, we need to navigate through something called the comfort zone. We've evolved as creatures that don't like discomfort. And being spiritual does not mean rejecting comfort and embracing discomfort. Spirituality is about being equanimous in the face of both comfort and discomfort. It's not about rejecting one for the other. So we must be careful about that. The second factor of Sutra 1 was to do with self-study. Knowing yourself. And this is what's important. Are we interested in yoga? Because it makes us feel good. And if that's the case, we must examine that. We must study that. Are we looking for some refuge which gives us solace in the light of all the horrible things that are happening in the world? Is that what yoga is? In which case we're simply exercising our comfort zone. Is that what yoga is? Is that what spirituality is? Is it an alternative lifestyle to the lifestyle which so many others live? Is it one that appeals to us as an alternative? Is it one in which we seek solace, we seek comfort, Now, if that's the case, there's nothing wrong with that in itself, but this is why we have self-study. We need to be quite aware of our motivations, of the dynamics of our comfort zone. This is what we have to navigate through. And the third factor here was Ishvara, the supreme identity. When it feels that this spiritual discipline is rather hard work, again, we've gone off the rail a little bit. It's important to appreciate that your intelligence arose within a greater intelligence. Your little intelligence arose in this universe. Doesn't matter whether it was through evolution or whether you believe in God. Whatever it is, whatever gives rise to intelligence is surely a greater intelligence, even if that is just the blind forces of time and mutation. You have to acknowledge that as the greater intelligence, because we are intelligent and we do not understand the universe within which we arose. Certain types of people seem to be in denial that the universe must be more intelligent than we are. If we accept the fact that we are intelligent, then the universe is intelligent. It gave rise to intelligence. It must be intelligent. And it's a greater order of intelligence than ours. We don't understand it. So even if you're a hardcore atheist, you must subscribe to this greater intelligence which is beyond the intelligence of our conceptual mind. And we can relax in that. We can relax in that understanding. The spiritual journey is not a weight to carry. The spiritual journey is about divesting yourself of all weight. Spiritual realization is like the putting down of a great weight which you didn't even know you were carrying. So this third factor, Ishvara, the supreme identity, is about lightening the load. It's about being open and giving up all tension. So that was Sutra 1. The practice of yoga consists of non-indulgence, self-inquiry, and directing the attention to the supreme identity. And Sutra 2, and becoming more and more established in samadhi as the painful afflictions are more and more thinned out. And the first part of Book 2 is very much concerned with these afflictions. So the more that we practice, the more we don't automatically enter into our comfort zone, the more that we understand ourselves, the more that we can bring our attention back to its pure essence, the supreme identity, then the more that will happen. The painful afflictions, the kleshas, become less. And the first part of Book 2 is very much concerned with these kleshas, these painful afflictions, and we'll look at these in the next video.